Alright, welcome back everybody to another episode of Hiss and Kaifa. We're going again for the Saladin's Legacy achievement, which I currently do not have. And we had to spend some time sort of dealing with some internal matters. We've started now working on two idea sets, religious and defensive, not making great progress there, particularly on the administrative side, where we've had to trade, well, getting the +3 missionary strength for being on time with Admin Tech 9. And we still have some issues with rebels, but the conversion of Hiss and Kaifa lands is going pretty well. We have oodles of missionary strength now, up to 8%, which, yes, we could get better, but you know, this is pretty decent. And we've moved from roughly 38% religious unity up to 57%, and moving quickly. We also recently finished off Karakanlu, with taking their last 4 provinces here near Tikrit, so Sinjar, Raha, Izania, and Sulaimania, I guess. And once we put down a couple more rebels here, my hope is that we'll save up enough money and be able to bring our military up to around 30,000 men, and then be able to go in on Ajam not too long after that. Unfortunately, the Mamluks still have a royal marriage with them, as well as a truce, so we won't be able to rely on Mamluk support. And the Ottomans are in their own war and in debt, so if we go ahead and take a look here at what would happen, nobody would join us. And if we take a look at who else we can ally, we're still in that awkward zone of there's nobody I really want to ally for their own sake. I mean, the closest, in my opinion, is Fars. They do like us a lot, but they only have 10,000 men, and yes, that would help, but I'm not so sure how I feel about that. If we look at Fars, decent alliance chain, they have some claims on Ojam, so they might actually want to come in with us for it. My worry is that we'll be used by Fars to fight their offensive wars, and this is not something we can economically afford. So for right now, we're just going to go ahead and get started and try to put down these Armenian separatists as well as these Sorani and Iraqi separatists that will follow shortly thereafter, and just keep doing some conversions. And you know what? Let's go ahead and ally with these guys. So we have an alliance with Fars now. I'm curious if I can get them to come in for promises of land, and I cannot. So we do need 10 favors, as well as probably some trust because they do like Ajam. So we'll have to work on that. We can secure a royal marriage, and then we will start carrying favors. They should go up relatively quickly because we are much stronger than Fars is. So that shouldn't be too difficult to get. Granted, we'll need... So if we got to 20, what we could do is we could use 10 to reduce their opinion, and then 10 to call them in. And that should work. That should work relatively well. So we're going to go sand on Sulaimania, and hope that these Sorani separatists pop there, give us a Highlands defense, but also that we get there before the month tick. Okay, yeah. Shirvan itself is not all that profitable for us right now, so the autonomy is not terrible. And we do have to go down to deal with separatists in Baghdad first, so hopefully we'll be able to return to Sulaimania before the next one pops. We're not replacing the Resident Scholar because what we want is more legalism. We're using it to pay off our debt decently well here, so we're using that Muslim piety interaction to forgive to corruption. So every time that happens, we can debase our currency, and then follow that up by the Muslim piety interaction getting rid of 2. And by the way, what you guys saw right there is that as you lose troops, your army maintenance actually does go down. So it'll go back up as soon as the battle's over and you can start reinforcing, because paying for reinforcements, you know, costs a lot of money. But while the actual fighting's going on, you'll make more money the longer the fight goes on, the more men you lose, because you're paying fewer men. I find it's rather hilarious that it works like that, but always make them pay you in advance, I suppose. The Separatists do rise up in Mosul, but it's really not an issue. It's a drylands province, so we won't take much of a penalty. There is a river crossing penalty but we should avoid it because we have 5 maneuver, and we do. This is our heir, who is a 506, so I don't mind terribly if he should die in battle. Granted, I mean 506 would be pretty good for us at the moment. We could definitely have worse, but we could also definitely have better. And I'm turning off our forts as well as our army maintenance before reinforcing here because we're not at our maximum manpower, and reinforcing costs a lot of money. So I do want to wait just a little bit. We are going to be seizing lands again in 1514, but very little until then other than converting some of these provinces here. So let's see, the biggest bang for our buck right now is Erzurum, 20 months, 2.9% religious unity, and our truce with the Jam is up, but the Mamluk truce is not up until 1513, and that's really the soonest we'll be able to take a look at getting them to come in, but I think the royal marriage will still stop them because they'll get a penalty from accepting would destabilize the Mamluks, right? -1 penalty for declaring war against someone you have royal ties with. It's actually a decent way of preventing the AI from attacking you if you can manage to get the royal marriage. But okay, so this is why we save money a little bit. We have to pay 60 ducats or lose a stability. We will pay the 60 ducats there, and keep just letting our economy recover a little bit. Our economy is separatist in Ajam. We have to watch out for those. They might cross over into our borders as well. And Ajam only has 15,000 men, so my hope is, their allies, Hassa and Yas, don't have that many troops either. 4,000 for Hassa, 4,000 for Yas. Both of those will go up the second we declare war on them, but not by all that much. Fars would also hopefully be able to muster a couple more men to kind of cancel that out a little bit. So if we can get up to 30,000 men, we should be able to handle all of their forces combined on one spot, which is why I'm waiting for that marker, because if we can't, what they'll probably do is they'll probably all clump up on one spot. They're AI, so they get special attrition rules, which, for those of you who don't know what I mean by that, ooh, wait, the Mamluks insulted us? Why? They like us a lot. Oh, whatever. I don't care. So, if you have units on a province, your weight of those units is counted against the supply limit of the province directly. Doesn't matter how many groups you put your units in, the total is counted against the supply limit of that province. With the AI, however, unless things have changed very recently, I don't think they have, the weight of individual stacks is counted against the supply limit of the province. Well, what this means is that they very rarely suffer the same sort of large attrition as you or I, because they very rarely clump everything up into a single unit. It's far more common for them to have 5 or 6 groups on the same province because of how the AI micros their units. So we do need to get rid of those estate loans. They're rather low. They're at 117. We can now take loans for as high as 160. But my hope is that we can get some progress toward buying down our remaining bank loans first, because our remaining bank loans are at 147. If we take a look at our loans here, we have 3 bank loans at 147, and everything else is estate. And those estate loans, the yearly cost is very low. I mean, the cost of these 5 estate loans is the same cost as 1 of our remaining bank loans. So I'm hesitant to take out more bank loans when we're that close to really getting rid of some of our highest interest payments. We've worked that all the way down to 1.76 ducats a month. At the last episode, I believe that was up closer to 4 or 5. And we can and will seize land. That brings us back up to 28%, so if we seize one more time, we can sell titles one more time. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't want to be below 20% crown land. We could develop things up, but we don't really have the spare monarch points for that. Good, so we have those things as part of our provinces now. We will take the next idea and defensive ideas. This boosts our national manpower modifier as well as morale of armies plus 15%. from that idea itself. And let's take a look here. Yeah, so we're still 4 years ahead of time, but this is Miltech 9 already, so we have a 30% penalty from colonialism. And if we zoom out a little bit more zoomed out here, I guess, colonialism has really only taken root in Spain so far. It's starting to move into Aragon, starting to move into Italy, and my guess is that it'll move through Mamluks or the Ottomans, and then all the way to us. I am curious, though. Alright, so if we can get it before the Mamluks, so if it comes through the Ottomans, we can sell it to the Mamluks. That would be wonderful for our economy. And the Mamluks are actually having a really good game. So 76,000 men, they've completed quantity ideas. The Ottomans have not. They went influence humanist for some reason. And therefore, the Ottomans are outnumbered by the Mamluks currently. Had we not allied the Ottomans, we could go in against them for some of the Anatolian land. But I had actually been hoping to go the other way around. Ally the Ottomans, use them against the Mamluks. But we're going to need to bring significant amounts of our own power to that war before we can reasonably rely on outnumbered Ottomans. This is in part because we're forming an eastern border for the Ottomans they don't usually have. We also did beat them in a war only 5 years into the game, gave them not massive amounts of debt, but reasonable amounts of debt that they had to contend with. So this is partially our fault for having a weaker than usual Ottomans as our now hopeful allies. Let's see. So we'll lose the 5 admin. Or that is not great, but it could be worse. We're turning favors up with Fars, which is nice, but we actually do need to start. So we could run a humiliation war on Ajam, but I still would like some claims, just to give us the option of a war for claims instead. Looks like Fars is at war with Timurids, Yas, and Biapus. I don't think this was a war they're starting. No, so it was Transaxina. That war is over. The Timurids barely exist anymore. It does look like Fars has taken Hormuz, so they should be relatively wealthy from that. And our goal, basically, is to, if we can anyway, move through the south of Ajam. I'll take that. Okay, so hold on. A lot of things happening at once. We can take Admin Tech 9, which is good. We can use our Muslim piety interaction again, which is now debasing for 160, more than the value of our individual loans. So we will do that, and we'll drop the corruption. I did take the technology first because losing legalism will increase the cost of our techs, so if we'd done this first, we would have not been able to then tech up to Admin Tech 9. And we do want to unlock Admin Tech 10 for the next idea group. We're at 260 out of 300 governing capacity, and that's in part because our prestige is not enough to get us up to kingdom rank. We're still a duchy. So we do need an additional 10 prestige to get us up to kingdom rank, which will then increase our governing capacity. It's why I'm tempted by a humiliation war against Ajam. But we might also be able to get that prestige just through fighting the battles, through whatever we enforce in the peace deal, and routine things like that. So we're going to go to our loans here, going to get rid of those 2 bank loans. Now we only have 1 bank loan left. Our interest payments are now down to, oh well, ooh, what a wonderful event. I wish we could spend on stability, but we can't. Not yet. Our interest payments, as soon as the month ticks, should show us down to less than a ducat a month. So we might be able to maintain our troops now on full army maintenance, which would allow us to build up some professionalism if we really thought that was necessary. I'll take the Merchant Guild loyalty here, but more importantly, we can reasonably afford to increase our troops again, which we will need to do a bit of a show of force here on Ajam. They're independent. They're guaranteeing the independence of Biapus. We really don't care that much. What we care about is whether or not we can call someone in, and whether or not they can. So right now they wouldn't be able to get Yas, because Yas is in debt. Are they at war? They are not at war, so that debt will probably go away sooner rather than later. And if we look on our own side, The Ottoman debt is increasing. So it was at 650-ish when we started, now it's at 710. And it's because they're fighting against Albania, but also Venice. I'm hoping they can take some money from Venice to fix that. But we'll see. Are they allied with Karaman? Yeah, allied with the Ottomans and the Mamluks. That's a weird Karaman game right there. Anyway, if we can get rid of that last loan, I'd feel much more comfortable about this. Well, the last bank loan, anyway. Because increasing our armed forces will cost us, even if we do it out of just infantry, 90 ducats, and I think just infantry is the wrong decision at this point. It's 15-15. Cannons are going to start getting better relatively quickly, but hey, okay, there's our 10 prestige from an event, and we can upgrade our government rank to kingdom. So now if we come over here to look at stability expansion, 268 out of 500. So we should be expanding again, and expanding quickly. So we will be taking provinces from Ajam, some with claims, some without claims. It's been long enough now that we have zero aggressive expansion on any front. So while that was a serious consideration for us for a while, now we have the space to really get that done properly. One thing we do have to watch out for is our ruler. He's 49 years old. Probably won't have him for more than 10 or 11 more years. Something else we do need to do as well is we need to start getting advisors, at least a military advisor. We can't afford this guy quite yet. And if you notice, so we'll take the national manpower modifier. Oh, really? Okay, so we'll take this guy. And I want to hire the guy we got through the event. He's half cost, he's only skill 1, but land maintenance modifier minus 10% is a wonderful cost savings for us if we can bring that online. And we're up to 80% religious unity. That should get resolved relatively quickly, which is very nice. Very, very nice. This has been probably the most reassuring of any of our recent episodes, for me anyway. And let's see. Ooh, 21 development province right here. So actually, let's take a look. Development map mode. So the value of our claims. Having a claim reduces the coring cost of something by 25%, which means that the bonus is proportional to the development of the original province. Also, if we want to take the most from Ajam in a short series of wars, we want to take their high development provinces first. So what I'm thinking is, although I do want to move down here to Avaz in the south, we might actually be better served concentrating in the north at first. This would consolidate our hold a little bit on the Persian trade node, and our trade income right now is pretty poor. We don't really have much in Aleppo because the Mamluks do, and the Ottomans do. They're pulling trade away from our home zone. But if we can get more value in Persia, we're already at 23%. It might be worth it to start collecting there instead of pushing there. Could actually look at that right now. Let's see what happens if we collect from trade here. Our previous trade income is now 2.47, and we'll see on the month tick what that changes to 2.94. Okay, so we will collect there for right now. We'll just have to keep in mind that we are doing that. Oh, our heir died, and instead of a 506, now we have a 505. Okay, not exactly what I was hoping for. But, alright, we'll give him military command too, because why not? And we can convert yet another province now. Okay, so we're at 161. We can repay our last bank loan, which is very nice. Here's what I'm thinking. So we can seize land again in 1519, which means we can sell titles and remain above 20% crown land, which is where we start to get autonomy, so we want to remain above that. So we can seize land there, we'll sell titles then, get 500-ish ducats, be able to pay off our estate loans, and then if we get into financial trouble again, we can take a couple more estate loans for much higher values, and benefit from that. We can also use some of our space here to start building up our troops. I think I want to take this up to, let's see, probably 4 cannons would be ideal. And The upkeep cost on that is pretty significant, 0.77 per month. Again, we do have 16.5% inflation, which is a direct cost increase, direct multiplier on the cost of our unit upkeep. So in other words, we can maintain 16% fewer units than we otherwise could. It's a bit of an issue. It's why we didn't go quantity quite yet. I am hoping things like the morale increase. Oh. Age of Reformation. Okay. Let's take a look at that, by the way. Not a lot going on for Protestants. If they win the League War, it'll probably just be because of Austrian enemies, which, if we take a look, does include the Ottomans, France, Venice, and Hungary. So the Ottomans and Hungary will probably push that over into a bad region for the Catholics in the League War. That's my guess. Could be wrong there, but that's what I think. That's what I think is most likely. And our economy is actually not doing terribly, so we're going to start buying cannons now. They're roughly 34-ish ducats apiece. We'll take the minus tax modifier there. We will have to put down rebels, I think, one more time in the relatively near future. We have some unrest in provinces where we either have high separatism or we decrease their autonomy enough to make them relatively unhappy with us. And what I'm thinking here is, so if we take a look, our cavalry is not that much better than our infantry at the moment. In fact, frankly, I think our infantry is better. It's more offensively focused. So we'll sacrifice the flanking bonus from cavalry, assuming we even get enough combat with the flank, and we'll take the cheaper yet similarly effective infantry for the moment. We will have to split this unit into two, because we're going to start having problems with attrition due to army weight if we don't. And we have two choices. We're on time now for Tech 10. And we can't take it because we don't have colonialism, but we're relatively close, or we can go up to the next set of ideas. Really, Prestige +1 would be okay, but we don't need it right now. So I think we will save up for the next technology. We can consider whether or not it's worth deving a province up, but that would cost roughly, I think, what, 1,800 or so. We can't move them. 1,800 or so monarch points, which we don't currently have, and deving that up would actually delay potentially our adoption of the next technology set, because the amount that we're spending to proc the institution is very high. So we have full army maintenance, we're still making a ducat a month. So what we're going to do is we're going to start drilling. We need to get the armor professionalism. We also need individual unit drill, because that does decrease the fire and shock damage we receive, so it makes our units more effective pound for pound than our opponents, which is something, by the way, that you definitely always want. Wow, Mamluk's just having a really good game here, even with a 203 ruler, which is a little bit impressive. If we take a look, yeah, okay, so colonialism is starting to move through the Ottomans. Do they still have debt, is the question. And would they come in to help us with the Jam? They would not, because attitude toward enemies, and accepting would stabilize. Do they have a truce? No. Okay, let's take a look here. Ottoman opinion of Ajam is 95. So if we spent 10 favors right now with the Ottomans to reduce opinion, we could probably bring them in. Because, again, that destabilization is probably from their opinion. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move on that. So let's stop our drilling here. Let's go over to our favors, reduce opinion with Jam. So we'll change it to -5. We will get one more claim here on, well, that's only 5. Where else can we get a good claim? maybe Wasset? Not really sure. We could also move toward Ardalan, sort of dig out around the mountains, the wasteland province of Zagros. I'd rather stay closer to the coast, though. Okay, let's get a claim here. If we can cut Ajam in two, even if it's only this 3-province little section, that would be pretty good for us. And now if we look at Ottoman Willingness to Go to War, which, oh, by the way, can I... No, not until 1519, that's okay. If we now look at the Ottoman Willingness to Go to War, let's move this down to speed 3. So still no, accepting would destabilize. Why? I don't really know why. They don't have truce. They don't have a royal marriage. No. And the opinion is now low. Yeah. Okay. Don't know why that is. I really have no idea. Well, we have enough favors. We're nearly getting them through on favors alone. So let's try that for another couple months. Trading favors for trust. We will need to rebuild our favors with Ottomans, and now, unfortunately, we can't reduce the opinion, reduce Farsi opinion of Ajam, because we can only do that action once every so often. So we'll trade for trust, moving them up to 90. We can only do that one more time. Let's see what impact that 5 had. And the Ottomans will come in. They've lost the... Okay, so it was just a holdover from their high opinion, I think. So what we're going to do is we're going to declare this war. Oh, Mamluks? How would the Mamluks come in? They reallied. Okay. Okay. Well, that is an issue. Because we can't reduce their opinion. We don't have the favors anymore to break their alliance. Dagnabbit. Okay, well, that's the case. What we can do, Ajam is still... Nope, they're no longer guaranteeing Biapus, so we can't use that. This would be a big knockdown, drag-out war, which I don't think we're ready for at the moment. Wow, that really ruined my plan there a little bit. Okay, so if that's the case, let's drop our army maintenance back down. And we'll start carrying more favors with the Mamluks. We'll try to break their alliance with Ajam again. Yeah, okay. 0.18 favors each month. That'll take us a little while unless they call us in on something. And, I mean, we can keep building up claims on Ajam in the meantime, and favors with Fars. And at least that has some utility, although not as much as I would really like. We will have separatists here soon, but only on one province each, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. So we'll merge our forces on the highland, pop the rebels there, and that should be very easy to get rid of. Let's go back up to speed 4 if we're not doing anything. Okay, we'll take the plus 50 Mamluk opinion. And we're building favors pretty quickly. I'm happy with that. So, one more month tick, and we're on that fort. Let's go ahead and fight that battle. Very good. Now we can come over to, I think it was Rabba? Yes. Over to Rabba, and then Haditha, and we'll kill the rebels there as well. Might as well at this point. We can almost seize land, but our emirs would give us rebels. Shirvan needs a marketplace by 1529 for that. I don't know if we want to build that. It's a pretty big use of money there. But we'll debate that here in a minute. The other thing that we could do is we can sell titles first. That'll get us the emir's loyalty, but this is dropped down to 367. I wanted it up at 400. I wonder what's affecting that. Our development is fine, our autonomy is fine. I don't know, sometimes that thing moves and I'm not entirely sure why. But we can take Admin Tech 10, we will. Now we will dev up instead of taking the next tech. I think if we don't get it from the Ottomans by that point, which I'm hoping we do, we should, frankly. We shouldn't have a problem with that at all. Let's go over here, 385. Let's see what the month tick does to that. 386. Okay, we'll take that money and we'll seize land, bring us back up to 23%. And we could not quite, we're not quite able to pay off all of our state loans with that, but we could pay off most of them should the need arise. The other thing we could do is we could look at building that marketplace in Shirvan. So let's see what that would do. Marketplace, well, plus 5.61 is not bad. I'm just not sure it's worth 111 ducats to us right now. Take a look. Yeah, I think we'd be better off building into Breeze for 0.22 ducats a month there. So let's go ahead and do that. This will elongate some of our loans a little bit, but nothing too crazy. We're still making good money monthly now as well. And let's see. Well, don't want that. It's acceptable, but it won't really cut out our prestige loss anyway. Let's do this, why not? Okay, we're pretty close to Diplo and Miltech 10s. That'll put us ahead of a Ajam there, which isn't exactly crucial. I mean, it does give us a better cannon, which is why I said that they'll be important soon, started building cannons there. Ooh, okay, very nice. Rebuilding our piety a little bit. We do get passive piety gain now from religious ideas, which is very nice. We could back that up with an estate, but I chose to do a different direction at the beginning of the game, much to my current chagrin. And I think what we'll do is we'll finally get ourselves a Diplo level 1 advisor. Cuts down on our income a little bit, but I think we're doing okay. And as soon as we have a couple more provinces converted, we can move away from this +2 missionary strength to something more useful, like a national tax modifier or yearly prestige. So, quite looking forward to that. I'm going to think about what other idea group to take next, probably between recordings this episode and the next one. So, I don't think we'll pick anything right now. Let's see if they would still come in. They would. Attitude toward enemies, so they like us a lot, but not enough to betray Ajam. And that's with +200, so they'll never be quite at that point. Oof, that's a horrible event. Okay, I mean, we'll grant them aid. Choose through the money that we just sold land for, but it does increase our state loyalty, which is giving us benefits here. Tolerance of heathens, trade efficiency, plus 20% tax modifier, and -10 stability cost. If we look down here, our stability cost, it was once at 220 something to go from 0 to 1. Now it's at 130 to go from 1 to 2. So very nice. Our diplomat that we just hired has died, because of course he did. And we could consider taking the +1 Diplo rep. Ottomans are fighting in another war yet again. Serbia, Hungary. Oh, that's pretty good for us. If they take Hungarian land, they'll be quite happy with it, and they'll get some of the power that we've stopped them from getting by stopping them really from moving east. And it's not like this time is wasted either. We still are completing an admin idea set. Religious ideas is very nice. And we do want, so when we complete religious and defensive, we'll be able to get -1 unrest, +1 attrition for enemies, which is perfect for a nation that will still occasionally be on the defensive like we are, but also a nation that has so many mountains and mountain and highland forts like we do. So even though attrition is sort of dodged a little bit by the AI, that's still a pretty good idea for us. So what I think we'll do is, let's take a look. We can increase our military quite a bit more. Take 10, that's puts us ahead of time on Diplotech, which is very nice. There are some bonuses for that. I think we'll make our army a little bit bigger here. and then we'll try our best to get the Mamluks to break off from Ajam. Let's see, when's the next time we can reduce opinion? 15 November of 33, which is pretty far away. We can get a break alliance. I wish they'd call us in on something. The fact that they re-allied Ajam is just absolutely annoying. We could also go in... Oh, wait. Biapus is now guaranteed again by Ajam. So let's take advantage of this. There is no valid casus belli right now for us on Biapus. But if we get a claim there, we can pull in Ajam on their own. Well, with Biapan allies, but that's Timurids and Great Horde. Of the two, only the Great Horde is actually worrisome, and their Horde armies will not be very effective in the mountains. So I'm not worried there. It will mean that Ajam is a secondary participant, but we can do things like take a little bit of land, and we can break their alliance with the Mamluks that way, if need be. So I think what will happen, what we'll do when this gets around to January, we'll probably call the episode there. But we'll have something exciting finally for next time, I think, where we can, if they keep this guarantee, we can go in against Ajam regardless of the situation with the Mamluks. And I guess because we have split this into two, let's do it properly. Get ourselves another cavalry per, so we have one on either side. Get ourselves a little bit more infantry. We can get probably... Oh, well no, we can only do one more infantry in each stack, and I don't want that at the moment. But we'll have a pretty good army. So we'll have, what, 32,000 men. Ajam will have 23. Yeah, we should be able to do decently well here. I would like a fort in the south. Not having a fort there is going to be a bit of a problem, but I mean, this is grasslands, farmlands. We have no well-positioned, reasonable terrain type for this. I guess we could go for the highlands here, but my concern is they'll just circumvent us through Wasit and Samoa. What we really need is a fort in Tikrit. That'll protect everything on our border except for, well, Sulemania will not be protected by that. So what we should do is Kirkut and Tikrit, or, well, we can't afford two more though, not at the moment. 222 ducats for that is pretty severe, and we were hoping, like I said before, to pay off our state loans. Oh, that's a nice advisor there. But I don't think we'll be able to do it quite yet. And okay, so that's January 1st. Things are looking up. I think that's really the memo from this one. Thank you guys for hanging around, and we'll be back with another episode real soon.